All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Monday, May 8th Berlin Board of Education meeting. It is 6:05. We're going to call the meeting to order. Ian is going to lead us on the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, before we begin, I just need a motion from the board to switch items 2 and 3 on the agenda. Can we entertain a motion?
I'll move to switch items 3 and 2 on tonight's agenda.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
So the motion by Carrie, second by Gina. The reason we're doing that is because Lydia for the award just arrived, so we're going to have a student presentation, then she can do the award, and then we'll have the final presentation. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So I'm assuming he's voting in favor.
Adam, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're voting in favor, right, of switching the order here?
Okay. Yep, it's fine.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. So the vote is opposed, so the vote carries 5-0. So moving on, we are going to start with student presentations from the Hubbard School first graders. So we'll turn it over.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the Board of Education. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome all our parents and families here tonight. Packed room, so we know there's going to be some cool stuff going on with our students. And I'd also like to congratulate all of the award recipients this evening. Very, very well deserved. Excited to have you here and honor you in front of our school community. As previously stated, Hubbard School is excited to share with you some of the great work being done with our first graders in the area of reading. I'm not going to steal their thunder, but in the beginning of the year, reading focuses on sounding out words and decoding. And as our students progress through the year, you see a focus on expression and fluency. And that's what you're going to learn a little bit more tonight from our students and our wonderful presenters, first grade teachers, Ms. Melissa Cohen and Mrs. Becky Moore. So I will turn it over to them. Thank you.
Hi everybody, welcome. We are here to talk about the magic that happens in first grade, especially this time of year. So we start out the year learning how to read. We focus on letters and the sounds they make and blending them together. They're starting to read words more easily, then they're putting words together and we're reading phrases smoothly. Sorry. We read phrases smoothly and then we move to the sentence level. And all that time, we're encouraging fluency, reading smoothly, reading the words accurately. And then this time of year, when they've got more complex phonics skills under their belts and they're able to read with more fluency, we start with the fun stuff, reading with expression. And that just means putting feeling into our voices. So that's what you're going to see them do tonight. We use Mo Willems' Elephant and Piggy books to get kids excited about reading with expression. They're paying attention to the punctuation, they're paying attention to the pictures and what's happening in the story. They're looking at body language and facial expressions, and they're matching their voice to the characters. So we're going to show you how we do that and then have you try some of it with us. Okay? So can we have all of the first graders coming up? So I'm going to have Amelia and this one. Here, come stand right here next to her. Amelia. Amelia's first, then Kira. Mm-hmm. Ready? 5. Go down.
In first grade, really, really loud. In first grade, we have been reading Elephant and Piggy books by Mo Willems. We look at the punctuations and pictures and read with our best fluency and expression.
Fluency means the ability to read smoothly and read the words correctly. Expression means reading out loud with feeling. Punctuation marks tell your voice what to do when we read.
So cute.
A period tells us to stop. An exclamation mark tells us to make our voice loud. A question mark tells our voice to go up. Listen to how we make our voices match.
Okay, so we're going to make our, and so just to introduce the kiddos, we have Amelia and Kira, another Amelia, Aren, Arai, and Quinn here, and they're going to show you how we practice matching our voices to the punctuation. So first graders, take a look at the slide that we have on the wall, and remember this sentence says, my shoes are new. So we're going to show them how to read this. These sentences with the right punctuation match your voices and read smoothly. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
My shoes are new. My shoes are new. My shoes are new.
We're going to do that for you one more time with a new set of sentences. That's a great book. 1, 2, 3.
That's a great book. That's a great book. That's a great book.
Okay, turn around, boys and girls. So let's invite everybody in the room to try the next one with us. And the sentences are, don't jump on the bed. So if everybody feels inclined to join us, we can try it in 1, 2, 3.
Don't jump on the bed.
Don't jump on the bed.
Good job, everybody. All right, kiddos, turn around. Turn around. So before we have our last two friends read out their parts, it's not only are we able to talk about all of the magic that happens in first grade, and they really spent so much time figuring out what letter sounds say and what happens when you put them together, and the comprehension piece, but we were able to connect a lot of our reading lessons with Ruler. So we have been doing Ruler at Hubbard School for a couple of years now, and we have a reading unit called Meeting Characters. So throughout this unit, we get to meet lots of silly, cool characters, lots of different authors. And while we're learning how to be fluent readers, we've had a chance to really study the characters' faces, their expression, and we've got to try to role play and match some of their body language. And then we connected nicely to all of our feeling word lessons that we did in Ruler. And we talked a lot about this year, not just using words like happy and sad and mad, but you can see some of the words that these kids can all use when they're having conversations. And they've made some nice connections to the way Elephant and Piggy look in their books to some of these words they've learned this year. So we're going to have Arai read his part to us.
We can connect Elephant and Piggy to the emotions on the moon meter. These are all of the emotion words we have talked about this year. When we read, we have to pay attention to how the character feels to match our expression.
Look at this picture. How do you think Elephant and Piggy feel? You might say they look happy. We would agree, but we have learned other emotion words like joyful, energetic, and ecstatic. When we read, we try to make our voice match.
And so here are some examples of what we look like in our classrooms when we are matching our voices to the characters and studying our books. So these are just what we do a few minutes each and every day while we have our fluent and expressive readers in both of our classrooms. We love spreading out, getting comfortable with a new book, and laughing with Elephant and Piggy. So that's what we're going to ask our Board of Ed members to do with us today. So we're going to match our fluent and expressive readers with one of you, if you wouldn't mind practicing reading with expression.
some of our elephant and piggy books. So we're going to go ahead and put our headbands on, boys and girls. You can put your speaking parts in mine.
Do you want us to get up, or do you want them to come?
So we're gonna. You can stay right there.
Perfect.
We're gonna match some kiddos with you, and you get to wear the
Nice.
silly headbands too.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, boys and girls, you want to make sure that our Board of Ed members are reading and paying attention to the size of the text, the punctuation, and how Elephant and Piggy are feeling, okay? Because you know what to do, and they've never done this before. So you need to we're going to give you your books, and we'll just practice a couple of the pages, and you all look fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to take Emily. Come on over. Oh, you got one too. We're going to match you up. So we're going to go right with Mr. Disney here. Show them your book.
Is it easier if they're on this side?
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
Hi.
Go behind
It
so they
doesn't
can
You gonna help me?
Sure. You want to come behind? Let's have them come behind, Brian,
come behind, boys and girls.
so the camera can see.
That way the camera can see you, and they can see your facial expressions and hear your voices. So Amelia with Mr. Benigni.
Give the seaters to
And I. Here. And Emmy, come on over. Emmy, come on over. What's your name again? I want you to practice a couple of pages, okay?
All right. So my friend is sad. I love this book.
Go ahead, open it up. Let's see who has the first part, elephant or piggy. Go on. Your turn.
My friend is sad.
Okay.
I will make him happy.
We are in a book.
Yeehaw.
Do you want me to read that?
Piggy,
Hey,
I
cowboy!
think someone is looking at us.
Carol loves cowboys, but he is so sad.
Who is looking at us?
So here's where we would study the facial expressions, right? And pretend to be them.
How is a reader reading us?
But he is still sad.
We are in a book? That's so cool. We are in a book.
How can anyone see a sad
We are
around
being
a
read.
reader? I figured I'd make it loud.
You can make the reader say a word.
I am sorry. I wanted to make you happy, but you were still sad.
That is a good idea. That is a good, funny idea.
Here I go.
You were happy?
I am happy because you are here.
Did you hear that?
But I was.
The reader says banana.
Can't switch marks.
Oh, the reader said it again.
I said we are.
Banana. So funny.
You love cowboys.
I do need
Ends? The book ends?
Yes.
When will the book end?
You are flying. You are flying today. My friend can fly.
Okay, first graders and Board of Ed members, we're going to wrap you up because just like in school, this could go on all day for how much we love it. First graders, what do you say to your partners? Thank you for reading with me. Yes.
Favorite books I read with my son all the time. Well, this author.
And first graders, come back
Thank
out
you.
this way. Bring your book with you.
Thank you both.
Stand anywhere.
Well, hopefully you can see how hard we have worked this year, going from just reading simple words, progressing to reading these expressive sentences with fluent voices and great expression in our voices. They've worked very hard. Hopefully you got a little laugh tonight and enjoyed hearing them read to you. So thank you all. Before you guys head out, I just want to say thank you all to you
your teachers, your families for coming out tonight. It's really fun to have the opportunity to read, you know, some pretty great books and wear these crowns. That was a first for our board meeting. And to the first grade readers, you guys should be really proud of how you guys are becoming such great readers and being able to come teach us what you have learned. So do any board members have anything they'd like to share or ask them?
I would just like to say I'm so impressed with your reading skills and how much fun it was to read with you tonight. So thank you for reading with us.
Thank you. Anyone else?
It was great fun. Thank you so much.
Can I keep this?
Reading is fun, and we hope that they see that right away in first grade. And if that's the first obstacle that we get over and we win them over, then that's the best part.
Ian, Sam, do you guys have anything you want to add?
It's all yours.
I just want to say,
Oh, wait, we still have one more board member sharing something. Sorry.
reading will take you very far in life. It'll help you understand a lot of things. Trust me.
And he's a high schooler,
You're
so.
starting now, so that's good.
If I could just,
Yes.
Let me just thank Mrs. Cohen and Mrs. Lorch. They are the brainchild that puts this together and understands the audience and what fun. So thank you very, very much for
Yeah. Well,
Amelia's reading partner has the cookies.
all right, so families, you are more than welcome to take a cookie and head out. You're more than welcome to stay, but if you want to get home and start dinner and whatever you guys have to get done tonight, now's your time to go. But yeah, grab a cookie and head out. Thank you. We're going to move to the next order of business in just like 30 seconds.
Adam, you still live there?
Yes, I am. Enjoyed listening to the first graders. It was
All
great.
right, all right, thanks, Adam.
We'll give you an introduction if you want. Okay, so we're moving on to our next agenda item, and we are going to turn it over to Lydia Tadone from Connecticut Association of Boards of Education with an award. So it's all you.
Very good. You want me to hold this? Or
Yeah,
can you hear
you're
me
gonna
from
have to
here?
Share a little more about you, is that okay?
Go ahead.
I gotta embarrass you a little bit, Lydia, I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Lydia is the chair of Simsbury Board of Ed, and she's been the chair for, how
Oh,
many?
my God.
Yeah, so, come on, I don't want to date you, I'm just saying,
I've
for a
been-
number of years, she's very involved in the state level. She does an exceptional job, and as she is here tonight, part of Connecticut Boards of Education and presenting the award. So, you know, to say a little bit about Lydia, when someone needs a resource as a Board of Ed, she's a great contact person that people reach out to. So she's known around the state and very involved. So I hope that's enough.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Benini, and Berlin Board of Education. Thank you very much, and it's an honor to be here. And I kind of always enjoy, as you know and as I know, as a member of Simsbury Board of Education, probably the best nights for boards of education. These are really special nights when boards of educations and superintendents get to honor all of you, all the students and families within the district. So it's very special for me because I enjoy going to different districts and always watching and hearing what students are doing within their schools and their school year. So congratulations to all. Give yourselves a big round of applause to all the kids and the parents that send their students here. So, as Dr. Benini had mentioned, my name is Lydia Tadone, and I'm a member of Simsbury Board of Education, and I'm also chair of CREC Council and on the board of directors of National School Board Association. So I do have the honor of visiting many districts and observing many students and parents and communities in action. So it's always special when I'm able to present something here. With that being said, Berlin Public Schools is a very special place, as you all know. I'm not quite sure what your motto is in here, but I'm sure you live up to purpose, passion, pride. Of course it is. It was right here in front of me. So, a little note aside, I had family that grew up here in Berlin, right by McGee School. So I had the opportunity, as I was coming here from Simsbury, to drive past the old stomping ground of where family used to live, and it's always a pleasure just to see what's going on, and I'm sure many of you students might be from McGee School also. But with that being said, Berlin Public Schools had entered into the award category, and they were very fortunate to win 2 awards. And the first is for the newsletter, and it was Award of Excellence by Rachel Rice, who's a member of your district's staff. And this was for the newsletter, and I'll just briefly read what the project was used for. And the Red Coat Review is the newsletter created by the students under the guidance of Rachel Rice, the media library specialist. It's sent out to the students, staff, and families, of which many of you also receive it, I'm sure, to give you the update and the happenings of what's going on in your school's community. So this edition discussed several guest speakers who visited the schools from high school to elementary, girls basketball team, and much more. So congratulations on receiving the Award of Excellence. The next one, which I'm very proud to present, is the CABE 2022 Bonnie Carney Award of Excellence for Educational Communications. And this is presented to the Berlin Public Schools, Berlin High School report on the fire safety program. And Bonnie Carney was a beloved member of the CABE staff, and for her entire life, until her death, she was all about communications and districts all around the state. So this is a real pleasure to present you with this award. A little bit about this Award of Excellence. This was created by Nicholas Smith, and the title of the project, as I mentioned, was the Berlin High School Report about Fire Safety Program, which I did not know anything about, so I'm glad that I was able to read this beforehand. So this project was used as a video to inform the students and the Berlin community about the fire safety courses taught at the high school, which is really unusual. Not too many districts around the country offer this kind of course. So you're very special having this course within your high school. The program was taught by firefighter Andrew Cook, who helped develop future firefighters. Students get amazing hands-on experiences through the video, which was created to inform the students' community about the great work being done in this program. And who knows, maybe you have some budding firefighters, joining the Berlin Volunteer Fire Department at some point. So with that, I would like to present the award to you. If you'd like a little photo op, we can stand out here in front.
Does it go to Nick?
And
Nick, come up, please. Nick, if you could come up, please. Just a little bit to the audience. Yes, definitely. The whole board should.
Yeah, the whole board.
Should see the board. But Nick Smith, just a little bit for the audience. Years ago, we used to pay to have our board meetings with Nutmeg TV broadcast. We now do this exclusively in-house. The people you see at the table are students, student workers, and our 2 media, we have in our media department, Nick Smith and Nick's assistant. We entirely stream all the football games, the basketball games, the different events that are happening, the art events, through in-house with our team. So these awards are things that we're doing in-house. Hopefully you see the videos that come out every other week from the schools. What we're doing with media is exceptional, and this is just a great recitation of that. So thank you very much for the award.
quite welcome.
We'll have you two come around first, and then we'll all surround you guys.
Just so you know, this is Kara. She was a big part of editing this video.
Really?
Yeah, so-
Oh, welcome, Kara. Thank you very much. This was wonderful.
Okay, so I'll get in this one, and then we'll have,
So-
Brian, do you want to get in this
Sure.
one? And then we'll have the rest of the board. Oh, we can grab mine. Or two.
Sam's got it. She works broadcast. You got a phone?
Okay.
Perfect.
She knows where to get her phone if you need it.
So your lens is clean. Just as a person and the whole time. Okay. All right, now the rest of the board. Come on, everyone go ahead. Yep. And we just have,
Come on, this
you
side.
two go on that
So
side.
just let us know, Sam, if we need help here. You got them all?
And you might want to hold that award since it's your award, the Berlin Public
Will you hold
Schools.
it too? Yeah, we'll hold it too.
Great.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome, and I know you have a very prominent place to put that cable board that parents and students can see upon entering
Absolutely.
the
Thank
Board of Education room. So great. Again, congratulations, congratulations to all of you on all the awards that you are getting tonight. And if there's any parents out there of high school seniors, again, congratulations. I know that's coming up in a few weeks too, so exciting.
Before we know it.
Great.
Thank you for coming out to our meeting tonight.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. Great.
And
Thank you.
congratulations to all the students and staff and faculty that were involved in Berlin Public Schools earning these 2 awards. So, excellent. Moving on to our special recognition, the Celebration of the Arts 2023. I'll turn it over to the superintendent to speak a little bit more about that.
Hopefully, everyone in the room had a chance to go to the art show. It was absolutely fantastic as this tradition continues here in Berlin. Along with that, Tyler Boyle is here this evening. He's our Fine Arts Coordinator, which is a new position which looks at the performing arts as well as the visual arts in town. The video that was produced a few weeks ago that went out to all of you, just a chance to really highlight, we had it at our last board meeting, highlight what's going on in the arts. And I think that it's a great representation of the work that students are doing, but the dedicated faculty that we have with us here. So what I'd like to do for the awards, if it's okay with you, Tyler, is to have you come up for the awards, call the art teacher that the student had, as well as have the administrator that selected the work come forward and give the student an opportunity to just say a few comments about the work. So if we could have you come up, Tyler, that'd be great. I have the list here if you need it. I could help you.
Any of these are good?
Mm-hmm. I believe, yeah.
The work-
I have it right here. You need the list?
No, the work, the actual pieces of work aren't here, right? Are they?
No, they're in the slideshow.
Yep,
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, good, that's fine. If we could have
Yep.
the students make a comment, I would love to have the.
Sure thing. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. First of all, congratulations to all of our students, our visual arts students, for having their work selected by their school or district administrator. We can't wait to have them presented and displayed across our district. So our first one up is from Griswold School. If Mr. Campbell can please come up and present his award for Griswold School.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Mr. Campbell, principal at Griswold, and this is Maya, and on the board, and Mrs. Lee, our art teacher. So on the board, we have Maya's work, and I selected this one, and it was not an easy choice. First of all of the students that were displayed at the Art Museum should be really, really proud. How cool is it that they got to say they had their artwork displayed in a professional museum? So this one I chose. At first it was kind of simple, but then I noticed there's some really cool details. I love being outside, and it just seems like a really serene, peaceful picture. It's got the cloud at the top and the sun with a cool spiral, and then it's hard to see right here, but in the house and the flower, and I think it's a bunny, there's a lot of detail, and it just really puts me at peace, and I feel like it's a picture I've seen when I'm reading my own second grader a storybook, that this picture could fit right into there. So Maya, I think you did an awesome, awesome job. You should be really proud.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Souza from Hubbard School.
Hello again. If I could have Miss Grace Mayo up to the front, please. I'd also like to thank Ms. Lee for her work and instructing for this special project. So here we have, and correct me if I'm wrong, I want to make sure I'm using the right medium. This is a mosaic here that was created by Grace and was untitled. And what really caught my eye is that it's just a different type of artistic medium that she used. I thought it was extremely creative, and it almost to me looks like a sunset. I'm not sure if it's untitled, but and what really kind of spoke to me a little bit is that it's like perfectly imperfect. There's pieces there, just like with any part of nature, that when you look at the whole, it's beautiful, but you can see some of these distinct parts that she put together. So I thought she was extremely creative in both her choice of medium and how she put the piece together. So Grace, congratulations on such a wonderful piece, and I'm proud to display that at Hubbard School for years to come. Great work. Great job.
And Mrs. Royce from Willard School.
Thank you. I'd like to call up Mrs. Vernon, of course, and Maisie Hopkins. Come on up. So congratulations to all of our award recipients. Many things caught my eye about Maisie's picture. First was the color and the contrast in the background, and then all of the details. So the snow day, lots of children having a great time, building snow people. There's a dog bounding in the snow. You can see their footprints and tracks. I spoke to Maisie today about her picture. She said that she started creating it through the background, that it reminded her of the northern lights in a winter sky. And then she moved into the foreground to start the details and thinking about a really fun day because she loves to play outside and have lots of fun. So great job. Congratulations, Maisie, and thank you for all you do for our students, Mrs. Vernon.
And Mr. Urso from McGee Middle School.
Okay, so I'd like to call on Erin, and Miss Ripley is Erin's art teacher. So as you can see, Erin did a portrait of Mr. Benigni. And actually, so I love this thing. It's a self-portrait, obviously, and it looks just like him. When I look at this, it's representative of every physical, cognitive, and social aspect of the kids that come to our school. So this is not only a great artwork of Erin, it reminds me of why I come to school and why the 110 staff members that we have come to school. So I thank Ms. Ripley for her work. Also, Mr. Holland is also another one of our art teachers, and Erin, you did a great job, and we're actually going to frame this and put this in the school. So thank you for sharing your artwork with us. Great work, great job.
And Mrs. Eustace from Berlin High School.
So thank you, everybody. First, I'd like to thank Ms. Glasso and Ms. Miller. We have a fantastic art program at the high school, and I know that's as a result of the wonderful work that students do coming into the high school as well. I'm always so impressed with the artwork that is put out by our high school students, and I will also give a plug for our AP UConn students. We'll be having their art show on May 23rd, thank you, at, I believe it's 6 o'clock in the Library Media Center at the high school, so please come by and see their portfolios as well. But tonight, we'd like to congratulate Faith Barkowski, who this is her digital photo called Blooming Flowers. And Faith, what really stood out to me is I really loved the dimension that you can really see in the photo, as well as just the richness of the colors. And I found out afterwards so one of the reasons why I love this even more is that my understanding is you took this photo in our greenhouse, correct, at the high school. So it makes it really cool and really personal for the high school as well. So this will be on display on our gallery wall in the main office at the high school. So congratulations. Thank you, Faith. Okay. And I don't think, is Chloe here tonight? I don't think she's here tonight. Okay. So I do have the pleasure of being able to give a second award because we have 2D as well as a lot of 3D art at the high school. So our 3D art award goes to Chloe Constantine for her vine pendant. This was created in our jewelry and metal smithing class, and what I really loved about this is the precision and the detail of the leaves on the vine, and overall it really is a beautiful piece of jewelry for someone to wear. So very impressive work. Chloe is in 9th grade and Faith is in 10th grade, and I hope they continue their art careers at the high school, because to be able to produce this kind of work at such an early age at the high school level, I foresee even greater things to come. We will put a photo of this on display in our main office on our gallery wall as well. So congratulations to Chloe. Thank you. Thank you.
Next, I want to invite our curriculum directors up. I believe first we have Ms. Turpin, and then we have Mrs. Watson.
Oh, nice to meet you, Magdalena. All right, so I picked out this. If you were at the show last week or the week before, you would have seen the beautiful artwork and how difficult it was to choose pieces. And I chose this piece because of the medium, and you might not be able to see it. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What made you choose what it's called when you have that paper that winds around and around? Mm-hmm. So do you want to talk about what made you pick this medium in order to try it out?
Well, I personally like to do a lot of unique type of arts. Any type of art that isn't usually seen, I always try my best to do it. And I chose a strawberry for this media because I just like strawberries, and it seemed like the best way to go.
So it's beautiful, and when you see it in person, it really takes on a life of its own because everything just literally jumps off the page. But it really is something that touched my heart when I saw it. So I want to thank you for sharing that with us. And do I get a picture of that? Okay, so I'll get a photo of that also. I have last year's photo or last year's artwork still hanging in my office, and it's makes me happy every single day.
Congratulations, that's beautiful.
And Mrs. Watson.
Thank you. I believe Marnie and Josh are both here. If you could come on up. And I know Grace was not able to be here tonight, correct? Okay. So, as Ms. Jerpin said, we have the pleasure when we go to the art show of actually scanning the room multiple times and picking from any school we'd like to. And it is so, so difficult to do. We have such talented artists here in Berlin, and it was wonderful this year to see all the artwork on display. So as I went around the room, I think by the third time I walked around and went back and forth, I just kept getting called back to this picture for a couple of reasons. First, the vibrant colors just stood out to me. So anywhere I went in the room, I would turn around and there it was, staring at me. So I absolutely felt like I needed to pick this piece. Also, I love the symmetry, the way you really, if you cut this picture right down the middle, the way the left and the right are literally identical on the face. Very impressive with the artwork. I also loved that it was an artwork, a piece that 3 students collaborated on together. I thought that was really neat that you did it as kind of like a project in a group. I'm not sure what made you choose to work together, but I thought that was really neat as well. Also, I'm familiar with the Day of the Dead. However, I wasn't sure what Calaca exactly meant, so I did look that up, and it really goes along with the Mexican belief in that after death, the joy of life continues. And I thought that was really kind of a cool message. So love this piece of art, and I'm thrilled to be able to have this in my office for the next year. So thank you.
And before we turn it back over to Mr. Benigni to present his award winner, I just want to congratulate again all of our students, and I hope everyone had an opportunity to go and visit the New Britain Museum 2 weeks ago to see all of this work on display. I also want to encourage everyone to attend some of our many fine arts events that we have at the end of the school year. We have a lot of celebration of the arts events at our elementary schools. We have our AP art event at the high school, and of course our spring concerts, our chorus and band concerts across the district. So I do encourage everyone to please go and support the arts in their local schools. And Mr. Benigni.
Hi, Lila. Very nice to meet you. So, unfortunately, I got to the museum just before the start, the opening, and so I stood in the middle of the room as I always do, and it's very quiet, and you can just take in the artwork. So I stood in the middle of the room and I looked at all the walls and just kind of what spoke to me. Then I walked a little closer, and I got a little closer to this picture, and the eyes just drew me in. And I stood to the right and I stood to the left, and it just spoke to me. And I just think that you see such a message of focus and concentration in those eyes, and then you look a little deeper in the texture of the hair, the way it was done, and I then backed up again and said, no, that's the one. That's the picture that speaks to me. So I'll be happy to hang that with all the award winners. I think for the last 7 or 8 years, they're in the Board of Ed in the hallways. So I can't thank you enough for your artwork. It's fantastic. So thank you very much. If I could just have one more round of applause. All the art teachers that are here this evening, all the art teachers that put together the art show and that were there that evening, and the work that Mr. Boyle has done has just been fantastic. It's great to see that the arts are very relevant and that students are taking part in them and they're alive here in Berlin. We want to continue that work. So thank you all very much. Outstanding work. I will be at the AP show. Thank you for the invitation, which I want to frame. It's outstanding. So those of you that got invitations to the AP art show, each one an individual work from a student. So very nice touch. So thank you both. Thank you, everybody. Mr. Boyle.
This was incredible, and it was really awesome being able to celebrate all this artwork with, the students and families and teachers. Anyone from the board like to add anything before we let them know they can take off?
There's cookies there. I look at cookies.
Well, congratulations, and you all have a lot to be proud of. There are cookies there, so you can stay. We'd love it if you'd stayed, but we won't take it personal if you don't. You can watch the rest of the meeting on YouTube. There's cookies, so help yourself to a cookie or two, and don't feel obligated to stay as we continue the meeting. All right. We'll just wait a second. All right, so moving on to our next agenda item, committee reports and correspondence to the board. So we're going to turn it over to Ian and Sam and hear what you guys have for us.
All right, we're going to talk about some more awards. So on May 24th, invited BHS students will receive awards based on their academic performance for the school year. The recognition of strong academic performance helps students to remain motivated in their successful performance this far and throughout the rest of the year, and it really identifies students' areas of strengths and highlights different areas where different students succeed. The award night is headed by Miss Mayette and Miss Bryce, so again that's May 24th. All right, and next up, we are talking about the BHS Unified Sports Team is collaborating with the Chase Anderson Scholarship to make us and sell tie-dye t-shirts and sweatshirts. Ian had the great idea to put a QR code up on the screen, so you can just scan that QR code with your camera and it'll bring you to the website. Orders can be made through the QR code, and all payments can be made to Berlin High School. Orders and payments are due no later than May 10th, so in the next 2 days, and all proceeds contribute directly to the scholarship fund.
So I know Mr. Boyle already mentioned this, but on May 16th, the BHS Chorus will be performing at their annual concert in the auditorium. The theme for this year is Harmony Across Borders, which aims to be a global music celebration, as the concert will be featuring music from 10 different countries. Students have been working since January to complete the demanding repertoire that requires 8 different languages to be spoken and used. And then on May 25th, the Berlin Upbeat program will be hosting their annual picnic at the Berlin Fairgrounds. Picnic will be hosting many events for students and young children, such as face painting, mini golf, a duck race, bounce houses, and balloon animals. All are invited to attend. There are also expected to be performances from the BHS Jazz Band, BHS Choir, elementary choirs, and from the local dance studio Dance Step and Dance Legacy, and food and drinks are free, which is always very nice.
All right, and to talk more about, there's the different broadcasting media award presented last, but this is the new one that the broadcast team just won. We talked about it last meeting, but this was a really cool award because they were competing against schools across the country. So one on the left, we won Best School Run Broadcast Program, which is obviously awesome because it highlights our program in a whole. And then to highlight our broadcast MVP, Calvin DeLude, who does a great job in all of our broadcasting events. You hear him on like talking through football games, basketball games, stuff like that. And then finally, we talked a little bit about Spirit Week last week, but we just wanted to show off some students and their awesome outfits and cool ideas. So my favorite one personally is Dylan Brockle on the top left. For anything but a backpack day, he brought like the tray of a dishwasher. So I thought that was really creative. And yeah, everybody had a great week and then led up to the pep rally, which was awesome.
Okay, and then the AP UConn ECE drawing exhibition will be held on May 23rd, 2023 from 6 to 7 p.m. at the BHS Library Media Center. This just gives a lot of students the opportunity to showcase their artwork, of everything that they've done throughout this past year. It just gives them an opportunity to show what they're able to do through this very rigorous class. And then finally, on June 2nd from 5 to 9 at BHS, the BHS Band will be hosting their annual Jazz with Pizzazz. And this is a fundraiser event, so there will be a silent auction and food as well. The concert band, jazz band, alumni band will also be performing, along with solo performances and small group performances. And that's all we have for tonight.
Thank you. Any questions for them? Yes, our broadcasting crew, Carrie said they deserve a round of applause. Congratulations, you guys. Racking up those awards. It's really exciting. All right, committee reports. We can start with curriculum since you guys just met.
The curriculum committee just met prior to tonight's meeting with the co-directors of curriculum and instruction, Lori Jerpin and Cara Watson, and I have a visual to share. This book was discussed, the Introduction to Business Law and Ethics, for the high school business law early college equivalent course. So it was just published in 2022. It happens to be an SCSU course with 2 colleagues as the authors, which is pretty exciting. So that will be proposed later in the meeting.
Okay, community engagement.
Yes, we met and we discussed the Citizen and putting together ideas for articles going out, as well as the rough calendar through the end of the year to submit our articles to the Citizen since we got that back. And that was about it because that took up pretty much the whole time.
All right. Adam, would you like to share from our last meeting, or would you like me to?
I'll start. You can
Okay.
fill in the blanks. I
Perfect.
think our last meeting was talking about our goals and objectives, which I think is on the agenda later on this evening. And also we have another finance meeting scheduled for Wednesday morning at 7:30 a.m. That's my summary.
There's no blanks to fill in. It was just the
Perfect.
Finance and Operations Committee. That's it. Okay. Do we have a correct report?
No.
Nope. Okay. And correspondence to the board?
No correspondence to the board.
All right, moving on to audience of citizens. We encourage members of the community to come up and share their thoughts with the board. You are invited to do so during this part of the meeting. When appropriate, the board or administration may respond. However, we typically do not respond. Each person is limited to 3 minutes per resident. So if you'd like to come up and share anything with the board, just state your name and address. Yeah, come on up. That table right there.
Good
evening. My name is William Kirshner, address 219 Lamentation Drive. First, I'd like to thank Ruth Lero and Brenda DeWill, Superintendent Benigni, and the board for their efforts to keep our children and employees and visitors of our schools safe by encouraging secure storage. Another reason I came to speak today is regarding a correspondence I gave to the board back in January, and I apologize if I missed some kind of discussion about it since then, or a response or something regarding the discretionary open choice K-12 budget expenses. I've learned that the district pays Craig Magnet Schools about $300,000 each year for students from Berlin to go outside the district. When I say discretionary, it's not the discretion of the board or the superintendent, the individual schools, or any part of the district. It's the decision of parents who I'm kind of wondering why they make the decision to send their children away from such a terrific school district here. And as a parent of a small child, I kind of appreciate that it's just because there's an opportunity early on for kids in pre-K to go to other schools where there's a full day. And then once they're there, they might be kind of locked in because parents, I would feel, wouldn't want to pull them out of a school where they're doing well. For me, it's a struggle. I'm fortunate that my child has been deemed a community volunteer. He's at the Willard School, but it's been a burden on my family to transport him. It takes 45 minutes out of my day just to pick him up at 11:30 to bring him to an in-town daycare, which is a mile from Willard School. There are about 10 buses there picking up other children. My child is not eligible, but I welcome the opportunity. I didn't communicate this in January to pay the incremental expense for him to be able to ride on those very same buses that are there in front of the school, and some of them are going in the same direction as we go. I don't know that there's an opportunity for the district to impose an additional fee that will help with the budget gap, but whatever additional expense it would be, I'm sure it would make a lot more sense because my employer, my family, and me, we're really stressed because I'm not working as much as I used to, just so that I can have the opportunity to move my son from Willard School to his daycare. Thank you.
Can you just, really quick, just to clarify, can you just tell me what the question was again? Like there was one question you had asked,
I guess the basic question I had, which I asked in January, and I kind of understood the rationale for it, is why can't my child ride on the Berlin Public School buses, which are in front of the school where he goes, picking up other students from his classroom.
Oh, for the pre-K program?
Yeah.
Got it, okay. Do you want to speak to it now or follow up separate?
I can speak-
know
I
we
can
don't
speak.
normally do a back and forth, but.
So traditionally, the students that are in the pre-K program, you said you're a model representative of the community. Those students typically are not eligible for transportation. So that's why we don't include them in the transportation that we do, because we are required to transport students that are eligible for pre-K. So it would be an additional expense to the district.
Special,
Yes.
special ed.
Special ed, right, that's why.
So it's not just
Because that's-
random eligibility.
Right, but that's what makes them, I think you understand that part, right? When you said your son is a son, you said, correct?
Yes.
Is a community model representative in the program. So those students we typically do not provide transportation to have because of additional costs. So what you're asking us, if I understand correctly, is come up with the cost if it was possible to transport, and then make that a contingency about a possibility based on a fee that would cover the cost of the transportation. Is that correct?
To at least have that opportunity, yes.
Okay. And that's
and also, as a side thing, to offer this opportunity may end up helping with the budget gap generally, not just this year, but down the road, because parents like me are making the decision because we don't have transportation in the middle of the day to send their kids to CREC schools or other opportunities where there's no midday pickup time.
So I think what we can do is we can follow up, and then either Brian will follow up with you separate after, or it will become an agenda item, and we'll let you know one way or the other. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put together a list of students and what potentially the cost would be and discuss it with the board, and then I'll follow up with you.
Much appreciated. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming. Would anyone else like to address the board this evening? Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming out. We can move on to the consent agenda. Do we have a motion for consideration?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do we have a second? So motion by Adam, second by Carrie. Any discussion about the consent agenda?
Just a question, I saw the overnight trip request going to Puerto Rico, which I think is kind of unique. I think it's been a long time since we've done anything, I don't know if we've ever done anything really outside the continental U.S.
We did.
How long ago has that been?
Oh, that had to be at least probably 10 years,
Yeah.
10 years ago.
They used to
More
do
than
that.
that. It was an art trip. The last one I remember was the art. Was art trip.
Didn't Sue Daniels used to take him to Russia?
So Dan said that was many years ago, but the
That was in
last
her
trip
past.
was an art trip with Kathy Miller.
Wow.
That was before my superintendency, but it was
Well,
when Dave was here.
Just to comment, say I think it's great. We've got to
Kids used to go to
expand
Russia.
our horizons, do something a little different, and being able to see different parts of countries, the world, whatever it is. I think it's a great opportunity for students, and now it's planning ahead to 2025. I don't know how long in advance the students need to sign up for it or how that's selected, but I think it's a great opportunity for them.
Thank you. Any other discussion around the consent agenda? Okay, we're going to move to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 5-0. Moving on to new business, our multiple language learner presentation. So, you want to do the intro?
Sure. We're very happy to have Jean Burrup with us this evening, who is our director for the district, who supervised with Lori Jerpin. So I'm going to turn it over to Lori, and thank you, Jean, for being here this evening. So, Lori?
So we've had several changes throughout the past few years regarding our population of students who are receiving services for English language. And we thought it was a good time to really share all of that data with you so that you had a good understanding as well. And Jean is someone who works very hard in our district to provide for those kids, and she has created a program that's just wonderful. Excuse me, that's K through 12, that meets the needs of the kids. And she also has lots of connections within the state and is someone who's relied upon within the state of Connecticut to help make a lot of decisions and make recommendations and review policies. So we're very fortunate that Jean's in the Berlin Public Schools. So Jean, thank you. Sorry, I get kind of nervous.
That's okay.
We're a very imposing crowd.
You're a scared group.
We were wearing pig
kept them on.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Just picture us with it.
Oh, you kept the elephant?
I had
Thank
the
you for
elephant
the
for me,
opportunity to be here. I really like the program that we have, and I'm happy to share with you tonight. I don't usually do this. There we go, okay. So I'll start just by sharing our program's function. Our primary responsibilities are these. So we help ensure that our district is in compliance with all the legal requirements, the state and federal requirements, the civil rights legislation, and of course the language proficiency. So we're trying to get kids to meet proficiency in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Our program helps our students who are identified as English learners to reach the same goals that we want of all of our students, of course. So to become independent, resourceful, and flexible, academically and socially successful, and happy and productive members of our community. And it is a real joy to do this work. I thought I'd start with some acronyms that you may see in different places. We are the ones in yellow are the ones that we generally use here in Berlin. If you use any of the other ones, I got you. Don't worry about it. But if you ever wondered, we use the ones in yellow. The state is more is increasingly using that one in blue, multilingual learner. And I like that term, but multilingual learner with a small m is also, a vocabulary word. So all of our kids who are in our program are multilingual, but we have a lot of kids not in our program who are also multilingual but are not part of you know, they don't have that federal designation of EL. So that's the federal lingo, English learner. And it's specific and it's accurate, but I also wanted to make the point that a lot of these terms and a lot of the labels that we use for kids often kind of highlight what our kids don't have yet, and I just wanted to kind of point out that our kids are learning English. Obviously, they don't yet have proficiency in English, but these labels kind of fail to capture the fact that these kids do have a lot, and they bring a lot of assets with them to our schools. They're motivated and interesting kids. They are bilingual and bicultural. They have a wealth of life experiences and bring a broad perspective to our learning community. Some of our kids are learning English as a third language even, and as they build proficiency with language and they meet exit status and move up through our schools, they are successful in rigorous courses and part of sports teams and all kinds of clubs and all that good stuff, just like all of the other students in our community. So let's see who they are. This is our current pie chart. We have 20 different languages for our English learners at the moment, and 120 students in our program. These are the biggest numbers that we've ever had. I've been here about 15 years, and when I started there were 75-ish kids, 75, 80 kids, and 120 is a significant change for us. And I'll come back to that program growth in a minute. We're seeing the same kind of growth across Connecticut and the country, so we're aligned with that. Here's our grade distribution at this time. Most of the students in our program are born in Connecticut in bilingual households, and they enter our schools in kindergarten, and they make progress and they reach proficiency before grade 5, sometimes in 2nd or 3rd grade. The state expects that they'll exit EL status within 5 years, and the vast majority of our students do meet that goal. Recently, we do have more students coming in at the secondary level who are beginners. So that's, you know, it's just a little bit different at that level. Those numbers have bumped up a bit recently, but the bulk of our EL population continues to be concentrated in the elementary grades. This is an overly simplified view of our program. So this is the process. We follow all the state requirements for identification, services, and exit. For identification, there are 3 language questions that are required by the state of Connecticut when a family registers. So they're uniform across all districts in Connecticut. It's called the HLS, the Home Language Survey. When a language other than English is on that, is one of those questions, we screen students to see if they need help with language. The screening is only done once, so if they've screened in a district of Connecticut before coming to us, we rely on the previous district's identification, we must. So they don't screen twice. We provide services, and then within a certain time frame, students exit EL status. Mastery criteria to exit is set by the state, and then we monitor kids for some time after they exit to see if they need a little transitional support, and we provide what we can if students need that, depending on our capacity at that time. So, important question, how much time does it take? There are very many factors that influence the rate at which any child progresses along the language continuum. So essentially, though, these are the research-based stages here with the typical time frames. The state's goal of 5 years to exit EL status is ambitious, but as I said, the vast majority of our kids do meet that goal. And I'd like to emphasize 2 things about the stages and about reaching exit. Learning a language is a continuum, it's a process. And when our students meet exit, we shouldn't think of them as being like all done, so to speak. You know, they're still continuing to grow and develop language, just as all of the students in our schools are continuing to take English all through the grades and are still building vocabulary and language skills. Our kids are still gonna have a couple of gaps that they're filling in along the way, even after they've met exit. So some people kind of think of that exit as, oh, they're finished, they're all set. But, you know, it's a continuum, so I just wanted to make that point. And the second point I want to make is English is really hard, and I think we're very lucky that we got that, right? But our kids do an incredible job of keeping their stamina, and all day long they're in an English language environment and they're learning content in this target language. They're learning math in English and science in English, and they are inspirational to me, how hard they work. I could talk your ear off about how hard English is, but I won't. But they're really inspirational. I characterize our services as flexible, research-based, and engaging. First, I think that our flexibility is one of our greatest strengths. We don't have a one-size-fits-all program model. We try to individualize as much as possible, and we're responsive to the needs and identities and interests of our students. We can adjust services at any time, so we can be really responsive to student performance, reducing support for a student who demonstrates growth and independence, or adding support for a student who's not making the gains that we expect, or changing our approach depending on what we're seeing. Our staffing is also flexible. Our EL staff are part-time, and their hours are based on the need of the students in the program in each building at any time, so that if the need goes up, their hours go up, and if the need goes down, their hours go down. I'll mention gratefully that our EL staff are amazing. They're skilled, experienced, collaborative, and creative, and I feel very lucky. They're not paras and they're not certified teachers. It's a different category of staff that's, I think, exclusive to this group. They're called ESOL instructional tutors. In the future, it's possible that the state will require all EL staff to be certified staff, but that's not the case right now. Collectively, our EL staff speak several different languages, but all of our instruction is in English. As you saw, we have 20 different languages in the district, and we certainly can't know all of those 20 languages. We teach in English, and it's helpful that we know about other languages and that we know about language systems, and that helps us to deliver instruction more effectively for those kids. Our program is research-based. And aligned to the standards. Connecticut uses the ELP standards called the KELP standards for English learners, and they're compatible with the Common Core. There's a link on the slide to those standards. It's like 200 pages long if you are really like needing something to help put you to sleep at night. But that's available to you if you like. We follow well-established research-based best practices for English learners, and we stay on top of what's current. Part of staying current is that we participate in a terrific network of EL directors across the state called CAPEL. We are a community of practice, and we help each other, and we have direct access to our leaders at the State Department of Ed, who are really amazing. It's a terrific resource. We get updates to laws and matters of compliance and all of that sort of stuff. Our program is engaging. One foundation of pedagogy in the field of language acquisition is just very simply that we have to connect our instruction to the students that are in our classes. Their individual characteristics, their personalities, their languages, their cultural heritage, and their interests all are valued and woven into our work as much as possible. And it makes learning relevant and engaging, and it builds a real spirit of community that we very much enjoy as a staff as well. So I couldn't help but share a few examples of engagement in the lower grades, because it's fun. We have some great resources. In K-2, where we have the bulk of our population, we use a lot of picture books as jumping off points for language work. You can see those across the top row. We're working on language, so vocabulary and grammar structures and reading and writing skills, but we can build that within any context. So this is a very engaging way to do that language work with our younger kids. I'll call attention to that bottom row to show examples of our great collection at every elementary school of bilingual books. These are for family literacy. Kids can bring them home and read with their family members in whichever language. They can read in English or in Polish or Spanish or Gujarati or Ukrainian or anything else. Most of our families here are bilingual families, and English is one of the languages in the home. But if the parents or grandparents maybe are not strong in English, they can read in another language, and that's really helpful to develop, literacy skills in English as well. So we lend these out to families. And you can see that all the examples on this slide are for the younger grades, but that's because they're colorful and fun to show on a slide. We also have really engaging, great materials at the upper grades as well. Here's a very general overview of what our services look like. We engage kids in language instruction and in language support. Language instruction is mostly what you'd expect. It's the direct work with vocabulary and grammar and the other language features connected to the Connecticut ELP standards for language development. And language support is connecting the language pieces with the content of the rest of their learning. So helping them apply the language that they're developing within the context of their science, their social studies, their math, or other subjects depending on what grade they're in. And the last row here shows some general support for staff and their work with our multilingual students and families. Sometimes this is just informally through ongoing communication, sometimes meetings. Sometimes we offer professional development on scheduled PD days. We've had a variety of different types of PD sessions in recent years. We've done collaborations with EL staff and reading staff. We do PD to share cultural information with staff. We recently did sessions this year about vocabulary instruction for English learners that can also be valuable to other students in our classrooms. We provide print and digital resources, digital tools to support students learning to access learning in the classroom, different types of texts at different reading levels for the grade levels that are corresponding. Not so that a high school kid at the beginning level should be reading something for an elementary kid. We have things that are designed for beginners at the upper grades. And sometimes we have or we can create references and materials for our students learning English that can also support other students in the classrooms, so we share those out with teachers. So our EL program is growing, just as the numbers across the state are growing. Here's a new graph from the state showing the numbers across Connecticut from the last 5 years. The state uses the term rapid sustained growth, which sounds a little intimidating to me, but that's their term, it wasn't me. So you can see that in the last 5 years, the state of Connecticut is up 22% for English learners, but the non-English learned population has dropped a little bit. At the bottom there's a link to a report that the state put out a couple of years ago about the 5-year growth rate at that time from 2015-16 to 2019-20. And even though it's 2 years old, it's still a really good report with a lot of information about why and what the impact is. So I recommend that if you're interested. As of this spring, the state of Connecticut has 49,833 multilingual students in the state of Connecticut identified as ELS. And this is 9.7% of all Connecticut public school students. So here in town, this is what it looks like for us. This is our 5-year growth. The 2018-19 number at 79 is pretty representative of what our numbers looked like for a number of years. We were steady between 75 and 85 for quite some time. And then we had a little jump, and then we had a big jump. And we've exceeded the state's 5-year growth rate. Ours is quite a bit higher than that. So we now have 120 ELs, and that's, I think, about 4% of Berlin's total student population, but maybe, I'm not sure if I'm totally correct on that. So looking ahead, some considerations as we grow. We want to stay on top of program growth so that we continue to effectively meet the needs of all kids so that they make gains in the 5 years and meet exit criteria. And of course, we hope to slow the growth of program costs while we're doing this. So we need to be mindful of some things moving forward in the coming few years. As the numbers go up, strategically scheduling services gets harder. There's the possible activation of the bilingual program requirement. This is part of state law. If any one school building has 20 or more students across any grade levels who speak one single language, we are required to implement a bilingual program. This is happening now for our neighbor Newington, where my kids have been going to school. And they're, I think, about a third bigger than us, and so I kind of keep my eye on what's happening there to think, ooh, okay, that could be us in a couple of years. So it could be that we trigger this requirement in the next few years. I don't feel like it's around the corner, but it's something that I would think we should be mindful of. In any case, we may need additional staff as we continue to grow. EL or TESOL is a shortage area across the state, and we definitely hope to retain the terrific staff that we currently have. Across the years, we've actually reduced staff and service time. There were 7 EL staff for quite a long time, and now we have 5. And so what we've been doing is trying to maximize our EL staff through scheduling very effectively and efficiently. And our building administrators have been very helpful in helping us strategically place students in classes to meet effective servicing. As we continue to look carefully at our data, at student performance, we're working to improve our practices from year to year and make sure that we are getting the best outcomes that we can for these students. Obviously, the more service time that we can provide each child, the better chance of faster progress. And we'll do our best to keep things consolidated as our program moves on. Here's my contact information. The BPS English Learners website has some tips and resources for staff and also for families. And I'm happy to answer questions right now, of course, and happy to follow up on anything that there might not be time for tonight. And I hope you don't mind if I take a moment to just kind of share my gratitude. It's the end of a school year, and preparing to meet with you all today, I've been kind of reflecting on how grateful I am to do this work. I love our program here, and I think it gets better every year. And I love our EL staff, and I appreciate so many colleagues here who are collaborative in the work that we do. I feel very fortunate to have strong collaborative relationships and communication with my counterparts across the state, and direct access to our leaders at the State Department of Education who are very helpful in this work, the work that I do and the work that we do collectively. And I'm grateful to work with district leaders here who are also very, very supportive. And finally, I love the incredible kids and families that we get to work with. Sometimes in the early stages of language learning, people will notice that our kids might make a lot of mistakes with language and they might have accents, but they're functioning in another language, and it's pretty brave and impressive, and it's very rewarding for us to see them make progress every day, and I feel very lucky to be part of that experience. So thank you for the opportunity to do this work here in Berlin and to share with you tonight.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jean.
Would anyone like to ask any questions or comments? Yeah, go ahead.
You kind of answered my question, but when you were speaking about parents that aren't strong in the home with English, do you find that it's more difficult when the child comes back to school if it's not being reinforced in the home? I think it's awesome that a child can be bilingual, trilingual, multilingual. I think it's fantastic. But from your perspective, when you're trying to reinforce the English language, if the child's going home and then speaking, Polish or Spanish or whatever, is that counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish?
Thank you so much for that question. It's, it comes up every now and then, and it's a terrific and important question to ask. It doesn't hurt the child to go home and speak another language, and in fact, if, I think in the old days, people used to tell the parents, oh, you should speak English at home, but if it's not a strong model of English, then that's what's counterproductive. And what we really want is strong examples of language in whichever language it is. So, the parents should be using that rich language that they have, and that builds language skills, and those skills will transfer to English, and that's okay. And we do also have loads of kids in our schools who are bilingual and speak another language at home and have never been in our program. Their English is very strong, and they just go home and speak something else.
Yeah,
so, so again, thank you for asking that. I think a lot of people
Not trying to be negative, I'm just trying
no,
to,
of course,
just
no, it's a really
understand
good
the big
question.
picture.
It's a great question. Many people think that, they should be speaking English at home, but it's really not, it's not gonna have a negative impact on them.
Okay, good.
And I've had an opportunity to meet with a lot of families,
Mhm.
and they've oftentimes apologized for not speaking English at home. And that's the consistent message, is that you need to communicate with your child fluently in your language, and that would be great. And so we just want to continue with that message.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
I just wanted to thank you for your presentation. And clearly you are passionate about your work, which makes all the difference in terms of the impact that you have. So thank you for that. And I also would like to reflect that having studied abroad just for a period of time, knowing I was coming back to speak English, is very difficult to navigate a world in a different language when you have navigated the world in one language for any part of your life. So I really am always awed by the progress that English learners make and how quickly they make it, because I'm not confident I would. So, so I think it's really remarkable.
Thank you for coming out this evening and putting all of this together, especially at the end of the year. yeah, it was really helpful to see and to hear from you, so thank you. Yeah.
So backing off of Ms. Nappy's comment, does that same thinking apply during the summer when students have longer breaks, or do you utilize online programs that can help them maintain that proficiency over those longer breaks?
That's a great question. I think that same kind of summer slide that we see in a variety of different students, we do see some of that as a normal part of what summer is for a lot of our kids, but they catch up in the fall like a lot of kids do, having been out of the you know, the scaffolded kind of system of academics that they were in before. But they catch up like other kids do as well. But yes, we do see that. We don't have like summer online opportunities right now. We did through COVID have some extra kind of offers for that kind of stuff. But it's really so much more worthwhile to do these things as humans in person. And we hope that our kids are doing any kind of summer programs, day camps or soccer or, you know, anything that's just going to have them interacting more with English for parts of their day.
How difficult is it finding EL staff? I mean, we're talking about shortages everywhere at all levels, so I'm just curious because you said they're not certified teachers, they're not paraprofessionals, it's somewhere in the middle, so I'm just curious, where do you find them? How do you retain them? How does that look?
I feel really lucky, honestly. I don't know, we're very lucky right now to have terrific people with a lot of experience who are doing such great work for us. It's hard to find staff. So currently 2 of our staff members have EL certification, or one is finishing up, and they could, you know, go off and find a certified position somewhere if they choose, and we're hoping they'll stay here for a little while longer. But yes, it's in demand. So I just, you know, I hope that we're keeping them happy. You know, we're doing our best to retain people.
And just a follow-up question, I was looking, you had your chart and we had the big spike from 97 students to 120 students in a year. Is that because of people moving into town, or is that because the criteria changed for identifying and screening?
That's a great question. The criteria didn't change in this period of time. The criteria did change a couple of years ago, but it did not have an impact at that time. It was a small adjustment just for the state to even it out across all districts. But this jump is, as you see, it's quite unusual for us, but it is the jump that other towns are seeing. And across Connecticut for a number of years, there were, you know, most towns and cities were growing and we weren't. So I kind of watched them like, oh, phew, you know, we're staying steady and, you know, we don't have to make a lot of changes. But now we're kind of getting that catch-up period, I think. But there are things going on in the world and in the country that make people a little bit more mobile. And, you know, and that report that has the link at the bottom gives a little bit more explanation for why Connecticut is seeing these numbers across the board.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment. Jean, I really appreciate you saying how much you love working with the students and everything you do, but we're very fortunate in Berlin to have Jean, as you can tell. And it is a shortage area, and I've worked with you for 8 years as an assistant, and I know Lori will echo this. You do an exceptional job. You're on top. You're managing 120 students. You're in every building. You know, if the need is at the high school, you're there. The need is the elementary area. So I can't thank you enough for the work you're doing, and we really appreciate it. So great presentation. I thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Now we are going to move on to the extended school year program. So Linda is going to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Here's our typical summer school update for you. I can't believe that we're talking about summer school already. I'm not sure where the year went. But as Lori talked about and Jean talked about, when we're looking at students with disabilities, we're really looking at that slide, not just in the summer. What we do is we look after long weekends, we look at Christmas break, we look at April vacation, the students come back after those long weekends or those vacations, and they take a long time to recover. They lost some skills, and they take a lot of time to recover. So those are the students we're recommending for summer school. We have about 430 students identified, and right now we have about 148 students recommended. So it's that small population that they need that consistency and continuity over the summer to receive special education services. We're not looking to move them. It's not new learning. It's to maintain them at the learning that they've had with us over the past year. And Michelle and Cindy really do run this program. They put it together for us. They find the staff, you know, they're guiding the teachers at the PPTs. We put at the bottom, these are how many staff we had last year, but those numbers can change if families decide not to send their students, so those are rough estimates right now. But this is what our program looks like. We have a 4-week program that's 3 days a week, three hours a day. For the majority of our students, it's during the month of July. And then we have our 5-week program that's for our students that have more significant disabilities, and it's 20 hours per week. And those are the breakdowns right now. You see that our preschool blast numbers are really low. We have a big group of kids leaving preschool that are going to the elementary. They're all going to kindergarten, and they have some pretty significant needs this year.
Big jump, yeah.
The students at the Transition Academy, again, that's just not our Berlin students, those are Cromwell students too. So, and what's neat about the Transition Academy too, so any student that's from Cromwell, they're new to us, so if they're coming into the Transition Academy, it's their first experience at the transition school with us, so it's exciting as well. Do you guys wanna share anything else?
The only other thing is ESS.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
ESS too. We have a ESS summer school program as well. So the students, how many days do they come?
2 days a week for 2 hours each session. So 4 hours a week for the month of July.
That's high school and middle school?
Yes. So that continuity of service continues over the summer, so we have eyes on and the students have that resource.
I'm sorry, how often did you say that was?
It's 4 hours a week, two 2-hour sessions
Got it.
after our typical summer school day is over.
And we did sign the contract early this year, which saved us the savings. The summer school program for ESS is $8,000. And every year, we always kind of held off signing that contract because we didn't know about the budget. But because of just where we were, and the board has been committed to this ESS program faithfully over the past few years, we signed those contracts early, so that saved us $8,000 as well. So it's not costing us anything to do ESS this year, which is nice.
That's cool.
Anybody have any questions?
Speaking of ESS, do the students who are involved in ESS
Or engaged with ESS, do they generally all come during the summer, or how many of those students actually come to those?
We have quite a few of them that are coming this
Okay.
summer so far that we've seen.
That
We
have
just sent
committed,
out,
yeah. Mhm.
So what's nice is students that we're identifying to begin next year can start this summer, so they can start to
Right.
build those
Mhm.
relationships. So, and then obviously we have students that are exiting, that are seniors in high school, so. But I would say the majority of our students are committed to come at least for part of that time.
And they may not necessarily be in our other summer school program, so they're
Right.
just coming
For the 2
those
hours.
counseling
But
sessions.
they're transported, right?
Yes.
So they can make it here, okay. And of the, just a curiosity question, of the, I think you said 148 students recommended for summer school, generally, what's the percentage of, or how many of those students would you anticipate?
Around 130 the last couple
Okay.
years. Like I think we had 132 last year, 130 the
Okay.
year before, or vice versa.
Okay.
And some kids may take a week off.
Yeah,
go
of
on
course,
vacation.
yeah.
Yeah. We are moving, though, we're not at Willard this year because of so our preschool, we have to pack up all of our preschool.
Oh, boy.
Willard.
Same with
But
blast.
you know what, it teaches the kids flexibility.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know about that. Does it teach the adults flexibility?
Everybody.
Just a question, just because Matt Tenza's not here, so I'll ask his question. Yeah, so if your approximate number of staff, 20 teachers, 39 paras, if the numbers of students go down, how does that work with the commitment to the teachers and the paras? Are they committed early on?
Commitment yet.
Okay.
So we hold off as long as we can to hire. So people who have applied who want to, and then we just hold off until I tell everybody it's
Until we
like
have a
the
bigger
end of May
commitment,
until
yeah.
we have a bigger commitment. So this year we've always done mailings to get information back from families of whether they're sending their children. This year we did a Google form. So far our percentage is higher at this point than it has been at this point. So in previous years, so we're hoping to know sooner. We get out earlier this year, so we're hoping to tell staff sooner. But the staff knows that it's towards the middle to late May before
Right.
they really know if they're working, and then we can adjust.
Okay.
And we're not jockeying with these guys this year. Past few years, we had a fight over staff, so sometimes we had to hire people sooner because, you know, there's only so many teachers that go around that wanna actually work.
No,
so
I think we
come
didn't
back.
notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And remind me transportation, how transportation works? We are paying, we pay for
The students
transportation?
are eligible for
Yeah.
transportation.
Okay.
Right.
And then but we do have a separate line item for that
Yeah.
now, correct?
Yeah, thanks to Ashley, yes.
Yep.
And nursing too, so
That's-
we have nursing and we have transportation.
Okay. Thank you.
Any questions?
I was just curious, over the past couple years, have you seen the numbers of students enrolled in the program increase or remain the same?
Pretty steady.
Well, we had a big jump over the last couple of years, maybe 2 to 3 years, but then it's kind of steadied out. So when I first started doing this, we were around 100 students, and now we're up to 130 the last couple of years.
But our special ed population has grown at the same time.
Right. So if we figured out percentage-wise, it's probably about the same percentage-wise.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming out and presenting that information. So now we are going to turn it over to Cara and Lori to present the following textbook and make a recommendation for adoption.
You can have it there. Thank you. Yeah. I could get it signed.
All right, so we met with Carrie prior to the board meeting tonight to discuss the book that she shared earlier, the Introduction to Business Law and Ethics. That is for our new SCSU early college experience class on business law. Yep. This book is the book that they use at SCSU for the course, the exact same book. It's actually, as Carrie mentioned, the two authors are actually professors at SCSU and they have legal backgrounds. They're both lawyers as well. So this is the text that they use. It is the text that was recommended to us from the program. And our teacher, TJ Jones, is an adjunct there and has the training, and so he will be teaching the course to our students. This pretty much is what it is.
I thought you were gonna read a few chapters or
Would you like
something,
me
no?
to dig into equitable remedies?
Table of contents. How about I move to adopt the textbook Introduction to Business Law and Ethics by, and I'm gonna mispronounce her name, but Cawthor Botter and Robert Smith, and published by Kendall Hunt Publishing Company.
So we have a motion by Carrie. Do we have a second? Second by Gina. Any discussion?
Seems like the perfect book for the perfect class.
Seems like TJ is the perfect teacher to teach that
Yep.
class.
Yep.
So, perfect.
Imagine how all that comes together.
I know, it's funny.
So we're excited to offer that and partner with SCSU.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Hopefully
it's
to
another great
Increase
opportunity.
our partnership there in the future too.
Just a question, is this class offered for next year, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And are people already signed up for it?
Yes.
And how many approximately? Is it one?
I don't have that information.
I-
Eileen had shared it.
Does it appear to be popular?
It's popular.
Yeah, okay.
I think
that's-
it's offered as like an elective to, I believe,
about
10th
Mr.
through
Jones.
12th grade. Yep.
Hmm.
So,
It's just, it's cool, I mean, I wish we had something like that when I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
great. Great experience.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any other? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the vote is 5-0. And now we are just going to discuss the committee objectives for 2023, 2024. I know they were included in all of our packets. should we share them out, or?
I think we should have each committee chair read them.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna have each committee chair read the goals, and Adam is going to be filling in as committee chair. So we're gonna start with the Community Engagement Committee. If you wanna share your 2 goals.
That's me. Okay, so ours is number 1, submit columns to the Berlin Citizen and other relevant sources on a regular basis. Number 2, work with the district media director to develop digital content of events that showcase many aspects of the Berlin Public Schools to be posted to social media on a consistent basis.
All right, any questions, comments, discussion? Do you wanna provide any context, Tracy? Or
Pretty self-explanatory.
That's fine.
But that's what we wanna work for.
It's just a comment. I mean, it's only because I have daughters that I'm on Instagram now. But I mean, seeing all the stuff that's out there. I mean, all the posts, the videos, I don't care what it is. It's Student of the Month. It's all these different things that usually went unseen or unheard of unless you were actually in the school. It's nice to be able to see those things. So I mean, I appreciate it. I'm always flipping through, looking at everything. I appreciate everything that all of you do because it's been wonderful to see. I know my parents look at. I mean, it's just you've opened up the world to a lot of people outside the school. So it's been great.
Brian?
The discussion we spent considerable time on is how do we get it out to the greater community? So it's not just a school community.
Yep.
So the Berlin Citizen is a great opportunity, but really tried to brainstorm other ways to get what's going on in the schools to the greater Berlin community. And we recognize, as you said, like your parents, because you pass along what's on and the links, but how do we move it beyond that? So the Citizen is a big piece that we're working on, but if there's any other thoughts of that, I think that's what the committee spent a lot of time.
Yeah, we obviously we all reach the parents because we all get the letters and the emails and the and whatnot. And so we, like I said, our goal is the greater community. I mean but in doing that, we know that social media is the way to go. We do have a Facebook page that we don't really use because we're also very careful. We've talked about Instagram, we've talked about other aspects, but it's also careful of the content that's put out there, that it's factual, there's no opinions. Like when we do it, I take strictly everything off of the BHS TV, YouTube, and just pretty much send that out there. We're leery about getting involved in Instagram. That is something that was talked about. The older generations are Facebook users, the younger generations are Instagram users and
That's
all
me.
the other ones.
That's me. The younger.
So
Make
much
sure we know
younger.
Adam's young.
So, the younger ones, they already know what's going on anyway. And we also are really careful on comments. So one of the reasons we haven't chosen to do that is because we really don't want this to turn into some war in town and we're just posting a picture of an artwork and yet it gets into this, that's not what we're about. We just want to let people know what our children are up to, what they're doing, and how the district's doing. That's it. So that's why we're strictly Facebook right now.
Yeah, and I'd like to add, I think these goals are important, and reviewing them as a committee each year, in the past, when Tracy and I were on the Community Engagement Committee together, we have had success in the past with the Citizen. They had dropped off, with running our articles. So though we've continued to talk about it and strategize and find ways, and Brian's taken an initiative and trying to get creative in other ways, I think these goals are great. I think they're important, and I think the work that the committee does is important, and realistically recognizing the realities and challenges that this committee faces is, it's clear that you guys do through these 2 goals. So thank you for developing those. Let's hope the Citizen runs everything that is submitted. Okay, we'll turn it over to Carrie.
So the curriculum committee has 3 goals that were established in collaboration with the co-directors of curriculum, Lori Jerpin and Cara Watson. The first is to commit to building an organization that focuses on the learning of all members, resulting in the optimal growth of each student. The second is to integrate the vision of the graduate competencies into daily learning experiences as outlined in the district curriculum. And the third is to support the development of the social emotional well-being of all members.
Any questions or comments, or do you want to provide any additional information, Carrie, about how you guys came to these?
No, as I said, I think it was more so, listening to and deferring to our co-directors of curriculum who have their their thumbs on the pulse of what is ongoing and what is needed within our schools, and really kind of digging into that a little bit more, and understanding the rationale and developing these, which seem to be intuitive once you listen to what their curriculum entails and work entails.
I do have a question about the third one. Support the development of the social emotional well-being of all members of the committee, or like members within the community, or students?
Of the school community.
Okay. Do you think
Should
maybe
we
we
edit
should
that?
change the
Sure, we
wording of
could say members of the school community.
What?
Was there a typo? Does it say committee?
It says
No, it says
members.
members.
So if it's a committee goal, it sounds like we're deferring to
Members
the
of
three
the school
members.
community, we
Yeah.
can add that.
So if we could add that in, that would be great.
Although your support of emotional was
that? Mine
important,
too,
I
yes.
mean, not to go.
Yes,
I would
Carrie,
like- I would like-
Gina.
I would like my well-being to be
Yes, we're.
addressed and
Um,
considered as
We
well.
see you.
Any other questions or comments about these goals? Okay, Adam, Finance and Operations Committee, we have two.
We have two. So Julie and myself, met with the Superintendent Benigni as well as with Ashley Dorsey, kind of go over this. Then we've got two, review current budget process, including ongoing discussion with stakeholders, and make recommendations for changes / improvements as necessary. And the second one was coordinate with the town on capital, building, and site budgeting to support effective long-range planning.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Okay. No one? Okay, so those are our goals, so we review those annually, and committees will, work towards achieving them, and they're important as they ground the work that the committees do. So there's one last item on the agenda. Do we have a motion for consideration?
Motion to adjourn?
Do we have a second? So motion by Adam, second by Carrie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, 5-0. The meeting is adjourned at 7:51 PM. Thanks for a great meeting, everyone.